Okay, so many of you, first of all, may be looking at the title of this video and saying, highs and lows, he's gonna slate Battlefield 1. I knew he would. It's typical Apocalypse. He gets too involved and hates everything. He's a twat. He's a twat. He just picks flies and splits hairs. No, he's going to be wrong in everything he says. Listen, first of all, I want to point out that I love Battlefield 1. I love it, as I knew I would love it. I wasn't crazy about the beta. I found there was a few things that needed fixing and needed addressing badly, which seem to have almost got addressed. There's still a couple of one or two things which are problematic. There's been a massive update today, patch 1.04, I believe it is, something like that, which I wouldn't even dare to go into in-depth detail talking about because it's huge. It was about a 2 or 3 gigabyte, massive. It took a long time to download, but looking at the initial patch, it would appear that they have thoroughly gone through so many things. I mean, I've never seen a patch like this. I tell you what, they seriously do go through their patches with a fine-tooth comb, because there are a list of things that if you was going to do a video about it, you'd be there for about 6 hours talking about every in-depth detail, half of which I don't understand what it is. But there are some things on there that I do recognise that are problematic and almost still. But yeah, like I say, I am loving Battlefield 1. I didn't like the beta because one of the things I did was I made a list of notes about when I was going to initially talk about the beta. Let's just put it like that. I made a list of notes of things I didn't like. I remember one of the things was that I found the behemoths were too quiet. It's like in Battlefield 4, if there's a tank or if there's a helicopter, if there's a jet, you can almost hear them, but tanks most certainly. Tanks are noisy. The tracks on tanks are absolutely rip-roaringly loud. I've heard them up close. Not that I'm a military person or I've ever been a soldier, but I've heard one go past me at a parade, and they are deafeningly loud. So I would imagine with, this day and age's technology can almost quieten them down a bit. I suppose they need to be a little bit quieter, but the ones in them days I would have imagined were so loud. But I found that when I was playing, you would think it was Conquest in the beta, wasn't it? I just found that they would sneak up on you. All of a sudden they would be behind you, and it was quite annoying. So that was one of the things, and I don't really know whether they've done anything about that. But the other thing on my notes was snipers OP, which actually makes me laugh, because I don't know whether it was because of the map itself, because the desert one, it is a sniper fest. You get a lot of snipers around the outside, all trying to pick off people on the inside. It's almost like a donut. They're on the outside donut trying to shoot people on the inside ring. The tasty jam-filled centre maybe. But no, I think it works out for the best, because the one thing the snipers do have, and it's to their disadvantage, is that if they decide to put a telescopic sight on their sniper rifle and they try aiming at you, yes, there's some sun glare on their telescopic, and I almost find that they become more of a sitting duck than you. It's almost obvious to pick them out where they are. Sometimes you're even moving and they are right at the far end of the map, so far away from you, and you just happen to catch a glimpse of that little glare in the distance, and it's like, oh, there you are, okay, well, I'm just going to sneak around here and pick you off myself. But on my next commentary talking about Battlefield, I do want to talk about the snipers a little bit more intently, because between me, you and the gatepost, and keep this under your hats if you can, and you won't believe this, I actually play as a scout more than anything. Shh, quiet, don't tell anybody, you'll ruin my reputation. No, I absolutely, adamantly, intently love playing as a scout, and I generally tend to use the more, not so much the marksman rifles, but the infantry rifles, so there's no telescopic sight on there, and I just feel it's more satisfying when you get an instant headshot with that thing, because they are quite awkward. And that's one of the things I love about this game, is that they haven't scouted round and said, oh, do you know what, we'll make it easy for you, here, have a nice clear red dot sight so you can see the enemies across the land. No, they've made it as difficult as I suppose it would have been in those days, because their equipment and the basics of their guns were so bloody clunky and awkward and horrible. Like I say, to the point where I always have a sight on my guns. Generally with this, I don't run a sight on anything. Everything has to be sort of iron sights, ADS. Just can't do it, I can't have a sight. The sights are so hindering. I think that's the best way to put it. They're a hindrance. One of them, if you imagine, oh god, what is it? Lord of the Rings, the all-seeing eye, that eye thing. One of the sights are like that, and you can't see through it. It's unbelievable. So anybody who chooses to use that one one. Fair play to you. I think you're a braver person than me. I think using the iron sights is a little bit more definitive. But the rank I've got so furthest up in at the moment is the medic rank. I think I'm about a level 8 in medic, not in the sort of level overall in my rank in the whole game, the actual personal level itself. I think I'm a rank 8. I've put the time and effort into that, and I've practically I can unlock any gun I want as soon as I get the war bands, but the one I prefer to use the most, I've got to be honest, is the M1907 SL Sweeper, I think it's called. When I was playing the beta, I was playing as a medic, and I found that some of the single fire action rifles were quite inconsistent. I wasn't liking them, and I always play as a medic anyway. But they seem to have dusted them off and cleaned them up a little bit since the release of the beta and since the release of the game, should I say. They are far more effective, but the M1907, oh my goodness me. I think that it's fair to say that it caters for many different styles. I mean, let's take for instance the fact that it's got the single shot ability. So if you're one of these people that likes to feel that you're more of a marksman without actually taking the role on as a sniper, then it's got that. The only thing that it hasn't got is the effectiveness at long range as a lot of the other guns have. But what it lacks in that, it makes up for in punch when it comes to close range, because if you're anything like me, and sometimes you get in that frantic panicking situation where you think, oh god, there's a guy there, what do? I've got to get everything banged on target. It's fine, because all you have to do is hold your finger down on the trigger and let the gun do the work, and you can concentrate on moving it in the direction of where you want it to go. And that's where it's special, because as far as I believe, I don't know, I haven't unlocked all the guns, but as far as I believe, it's the only one of its kind that actually has that semi-automatic ability, and that's perfect. It's perfect for those close range, long range, and it just gives you a bit more confidence as the kind of player who might be a rusher, who wants to heal his teammates, who wants to revive his teammates and bring his teammates back to life, who wants to have a bit of long distance engagement, but primarily wants to get in the thick of it and get the job done. So let's talk about a couple of negative things. One of the things I really would like to actually change, and since the patch today I thought that would have been more improved, but in fact I don't know whether I was just playing against good players, but it just felt like it was a little bit worse. Maybe because people are just getting more smart to the flaw in the game, and that is the spawns. The spawn trapping is awful, and I'm talking more on a team deathmatch basis. Maybe in all the other modes it might be okay, but team deathmatch, the spawn trapping is horrific, to the point where you can see people spawning directly in front of you all the time. I've spawned and I've been shot instantly, and then I spawned and shot, other end of the map, spawned, shot. So it's almost like people are getting very wise to the flaws in the spawn system, and I hope that that is something they can address a little bit more in detail. It's certain maps, particularly Sinai Desert. Is it called Sinai Desert? I can't remember. But particularly on that desert map, the spawn trapping, it's not pleasant. I was also thinking, when I referred back to my notes, about one of the things that I listed down, which was no counter to bayonet charges. It's like in Battlefield 4, if somebody went to knife you, you could grab hold of the knife if you were quick enough in touching the button and turning the knife back on themselves and plunging it into them. So a nice little counter-attack. Whereas with the bayonet charge, it's sort of, I just thought there was nothing. I thought you get charged with a bayonet unless you're quick enough to move out the way, which I've charged at a few people, and if they just happen to move half a millimetre to the left, you end up going past them like some loon. Some loon with a knife in the end of his gun who has no direction whatsoever. But it did come to light, and it tells you actually in the loading screen when you get these little bits of information that one of the counters to somebody bayonet charging you is actually to bayonet charge back, and as the secondary bayonet charger, if you like, you will come off victorious. So if somebody charges you, you charge back at them, you will be the one who will win that fight. I didn't know that, and it was going to be something I was going to pick up, and I dare say it would have been something that somebody would have picked up for me and said, didn't you know that? Do your homework, APOC. So yeah, that's I don't really want to talk too much about the negatives, because I'm having a blast playing Battlefield 1, and I look forward. I think I might rent a server on this one. I think this is going to be the first time I've ever rented a server. I'm going to dig in depth a little bit more about that and find out some more, and then obviously I'll release the details to you guys, and say jump in whenever you want to jump in the server. Jump in. That's where I'll be as an admin, a badmin. I won't be a badmin. I'll be a goodmin. Yeah, a fine min. I'll be a nice min. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Fantastic game. See, I didn't go too harsh on it. Just a couple of little flaws in there that needed fixing, but it does seem like they're on the ball and they're going to do a little bit more about it. And I look forward to having a long engagement to this game. Thanks for watching, guys. Much love. Apocalypse done.